everybody, welcome to Burnie's Applebox, and today I have a very dear friend with me. Does a lot of reality, travels all over the world, and he's going to knock it out for us, Mr. Robert Jolley.
Burnie!
How you doing, buddy?
Good, man.
All right, I should let everybody know here, Robert is, of course, somebody I've known for a long time, but until yesterday, I had not seen Robert for, what do we figure, six,
About
7
6
years?
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, long
maybe,
time.
Yeah, yep.
And we used to work together all the time.
Constantly.
And then just like this business does, you know, you take a left turn and somebody's doing on the other side of the world working like you are now. And I'm still here in Orange County loading the grip trucks and carrying sandbags. So that's the way of the world. But Robert, you know, we've had such a great time together over the time. I don't want to just talk about old times and all that, but first of all, you know, right now, tell us what you're doing, what your role is, all that.
Okay, all right. Well, right now I'm working on a television series for Discovery.
What is it?
Alaska: The Last Frontier.
Okay.
It's been on a few years.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're rolling up on season 8, starting next month.
Season 8. Have you been there the whole season?
I have not.
Okay.
No. I worked season 4 and season 5 as a guest camera operator.
Okay.
While I was working on other shows, I had an open slot in my schedule, and they called me up, and I was available, and I'm like, absolutely, that would be great. And then when season 6 rolled around, I was available to do an entire season. They called me up and asked me if I would be interested in DPing the whole season, and then that led to season 7, which was just this last year, 2017. And now season 8, 2018.
That's
3 years in a row.
great. 3 years in a row. Wow. And we used to sit around and talk about, it's slow this month. How are we getting jobs? Nobody knows what I do. You know what I mean? All of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's
when we hit the big time, we'll be doing, whatever.
Yeah, the big time I found out is a very elusive creature.
Now, when it hits you, it hurts. So it's probably better just to enjoy what you've got, you know, for sure.
Well, thank you, because I know you're on a tight schedule, and thank you for making the time to come down today, because I think that, you know, what your knowledge base is very valuable to most of the people we have out there right now. You know, certainly DPs and stuff, because I've always wondered what the process is in a reality show. You know, I know some of the kind of formulas for reality is obviously you want to make those shows where they're interchangeable in a timeline.
Yeah.
You know, you could watch one individual show and see the story there.
Yeah.
Tell me, just like you described, you started part-time and then they had you back for the last 3 seasons as the DP and stuff. What is your approach to a show like that? Just say, approach to the season, and then what's your approach to the individual shows?
Well, you know, when you're coming onto a show that's already established, there's already that recipe, there's that formula.
Sure.
And in some ways it's very comforting because you kind of know what to expect. Where in contrast, when you're starting a show at the very beginning, like a previous series I've been shooting, I had shot, that's scary, but it also is liberating at the same time. Now, in the case of The Last Frontier, the good thing is that there are parameters set, visual parameters, aesthetic parameters, but yet there's also a little bit of room in there that you can, you know, hopefully put a little bit of your own imprint, so to speak. But, you know, like we talk about, there's a business model to keep in mind.
Sure.
All right? There's the artistic part of it, which we all aspire to and yearn for.
That's where we're at.
Right. We're very artistic people. There's also the business model that you and I have talked about for years, where you have a client and you have someone you're working for.
Right.
They're investing, in this case, a lot of money, and they're expecting results. They're expecting a return. And in that regard, that return is usable elements that they can use to create their series and, you know, and sell ad time and everything. So I try to keep that in mind a lot of times. And I know that kind of dispels the allure of, you know, an artistic experience and opportunity. But, you know, I really keep that in mind because it's important that while you're working for someone else and doing what you do well, hopefully, the people that are writing your check are happy as well.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, the reality is, and let's face it, you cannot ignore the economic factor in any media you're making. Now, you want to self-finance it? Yeah, I'll be my guest.
You can do anything you want.
Yeah. But when you're working on a commercial project, which most of mine, like 99.9%, are commercial.
Yeah.
This isn't me to go in there and make creative. This is for me to execute for the client.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's the same on any level, whether you're audio or director of photography, and certainly the director.
Oh, absolutely.
Got to keep that forefront.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, in mind. So tell me about pre-season on, say, like Last Frontier. What is your meeting process? What is the distribution of knowledge there that goes on?
Sure. Well, that's a really good question because we're in pre-production right now.
Okay.
And there's a lot of loose phone calls happening back and forth, discussing a myriad of details, logistics, camera questions. Should we try this season? What camera should we use? So a lot of discussion. And with The Last Frontier and a lot of documentary type series are like this, a lot of the guys that work on these shows are kind of specialized, and so we're all over the country. So there's a lot of phone calls. The in-person meetings don't happen as frequently. Those usually happen when we actually get on location.
Okay.
But the process, you know, I wish that there was really one method because it would sure make going from show to show to show a little easier. But you know, you just kind
it's all different,
you find your way. Yeah, you find your way. You decide on a camera format. Well, first thing, you kind of work into it backwards because Post has a lot of specifics that they need for their deliverables for broadcast. So you talk to those guys and you figure out what they need, and then you kind of work into it. The great thing about modern technology is most cameras will do pretty much what you need.
Whatever you want them to. Yeah.
So then you get to that part of the conversation, and then you start talking camera platforms, optics, tripods, you know, the nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
And
so you're right down to what type of tripod you're using.
Oh, totally.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many of those because you get out in the field, and the last thing you really want to have happen is to get a piece of gear that it doesn't really work that well. It doesn't, you know, accommodate what I need specifically. So
or God forbid gets out there into the field, and you're really talking the field. I mean, you're up in Alaska in the outback. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that tripod goes down, you put it on a stick.
We'll be doing a lot more handheld.
Yeah, killing yourself. Now that's interesting. So from a technical point of view, it starts with Post, works backwards. And then you're coming up, okay, now you've decided on the camera. And what cameras are you using?
On Alaska, The Last Frontier, we use a variety. We use the C300s. Those are, you know, those cameras, I got to give Canon a lot of credit, man. Those things put up with a lot of abuse. They really are.
They're really bulletproof.
And then we use a little fixed lens camera. It's the XF305, and that's really helpful in a lot of the circumstances that we find ourselves in. You know, running
real
through
run and gun.
Oh my gosh, totally. And they put up with a lot of abuse too. A lot of plastic, but surprisingly they hang in there.
They
pretty
hold
good.
up. Okay.
We use a lot of GoPros. We use the Osmos.
How many GoPros do you have on a show like that?
Well, we usually start the season with 10 or 12, and then about halfway through we're down to 4. So we buy a few more to get the inventory.
Rig just backed over the camera.
Oh yeah, backhoes, excavators, animals.
Yeah.
GoPros are dispensable. I mean, you can put them on something, and if they get destroyed, that's okay.
I know it's like an expendable camera, really, right? Yeah.
One of the things we love that we use a lot are the drones. Inspire drones, man.
Sure.
Those things are awesome.
The little small ones?
We use the Mavics and the Inspire 2s.
Wow.
They're fantastic.
Wow. So you're not going high end on the drones. You're just going medium level, get the job done, and you'll pull it off.
Yeah, but I have to give credit to one of our local camera operators. We do some helicopter work as well.
Sure.
He has a Cineflex that's fantastic. He gets up there and beautiful.
And he lives up there?
Yeah, he lives in Homer. He does a lot of work around the state of Alaska. I think he works outside of Alaska as well. So we do everything from helicopter mounts all the way down to the smallest of small cameras.
Wow, that is something.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no,
cool.
It sounds good. Sounds good. So with the cameras, you've got this. Now, is there a plot line to a season generally in reality, or is it like this season we're going to kind of focus on housing or whatever? I don't know.
That evolves.
Yeah.
On a show that's documentary based, you may start off the season with an arc. A general all-purpose theme.
Yeah.
And within that, things change. There's a few points that we're trying to hit. Like maybe we'll do a certain number of hunts.
Sure.
Maybe we'll do a build.
Okay.
Maybe we'll have an upgrade to the homestead. Maybe we'll go to Kodiak Island and move a herd of buffalo by boat from one part of Kodiak to the other.
Yeah.
Lots of really big lofty ideas, and most of them come to fruition. But there's always the logistics, time, weather in Alaska. Just that's a
weather
variable
in Alaska. That's like, what do you do about it?
Oh my! You know, when I
You have to incorporate in the storyline, right?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
that's part of
yeah.
the reason you're really up there.
Well, there was a series, another Alaska-based series called Port Protection that I worked on, and the post guys were awesome. They worked so hard on that show, but occasionally we got notes back saying, you know, in one shot it's snowing, and then in the next shot within the same scene it's sunny. Can you guys reshoot that and get the continuity a little more? And we all read it. We're like,
there's definitely that's an email from LA.
Totally.
Yeah.
You know, God bless them. They're great guys.
Yeah.
They just, you know, you can tell when someone's been to Alaska and when they haven't been to Alaska, you just roll with it, man. You know, it's going to snow, it's going to rain.
Well, you know what? That was in the same scene. Yeah, with that 5 minutes it was sunny and snowy. Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
That's wild. So, and this brings up a point. How much is the man behind the curtain in LA calling the shots on the ground up in Alaska? Because for me, I used far from this business. I remember I considered the home office my other client because I had to keep that client happy as well as the 2 clients they had charged me with keeping happy.
Yeah.
So how is that with you guys?
Wow, you know, the people I work with right now are incredibly supportive, and they're very experienced in shooting a television show in Alaska, so they understand all of these logistics, and they have expectations, and we do our very best to meet up to those expectations and deliver on what they need. And you know, things change. They understand that. You know, in the field, it's such a crazy situation where you've got all kinds of elements that are completely out of your control. Yeah. So you start the season hoping for this. Yeah. And hopefully you get as close to that as you can.
Right, right. And maybe sometimes because of the unknown, and you know, that works in your favor too.
Oh, absolutely.
Many times.
Absolutely.
You know, you'll overachieve. You'll go above that level. You know, but I know you keep your standards high.
Oh, so, I try. You know, you have to. You have to go into it hoping for the very best and putting in 100% effort. Yeah. And a lot of times you're not going to get that. Yeah. You know, at the end of the day, there are many days where I'm driving back to where I live, and I go, gosh, man, I wish I could have done this and this and this, and what didn't work out right, you know, and that you just live with that, and you go, all right, well, tomorrow's another day, and you know, we'll give it another shot and see what we get. You know, your talent, by definition, almost in reality TV, is not true trained actors or talent or anything. These are people. That's correct.
Now they have been cast. Right. Yep. And they have been briefed on what the storyline. I mean, you're literally not following somebody around watching them brush their teeth, right? I mean, you've got a story you're going to put out there. Right. Now, what is it like to work with folks that are generally just ordinary folks? It's pretty cool. I have to tell you, it's, you know, our cast members have a lot of input on the content of the show because they're the ones that are going to be doing it. Sure. So they'll come up with some great ideas, some story ideas that, you know, a group of LA people probably wouldn't think of because that's not our life. Yeah. You know. Yeah. And I've learned so much about using a chainsaw properly. You know, just the basics of living in a place like Alaska, where you really do have to be a little bit more willing to just get out there and get dirty. Yeah. And the cast in those situations are invaluable for, you know, a resource to ask, you know, how do we do this to do it well? You know, how do we make this work? Suggest? What's real? Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And then at times, you know, from a TV standpoint, you're making a television show, so that real factor has to take a little bit of a back seat in order for us to get the story beats, in order to tell it on television in such a way that it flows for TV. Yeah. Because really, I mean, if we were doing it as reality, 100%. Yeah. I think our ratings might be a little low. They'd be like, oh, come on, move it on, keep going, go. You know, let's move the story along here a little bit more. But you know, thank goodness for editing. It's so true. And you know what? I think that most viewers are sophisticated enough to know that you are watching a simulation of what the reality is, as opposed to real reality. Absolutely. You know? Something like the Kardashians and stuff, I'm sorry, Robert. I promised I wouldn't bring up the name. You know, but that is more or less, I mean, that's true fantasy. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, you know, it's an interesting thing, though. Like, if you go back into film history and look at film aesthetic, right? At the very beginning, when film was just used as a vaudeville sideshow kind of thing, you know, movies or picture shows were made for the poor people, you know, in the vaudeville routines. The elite, you know, aristocratic people, they didn't watch movies. Yeah. But that's where it started. That's where the aesthetic began. You know, shots, reverse shots, cuts, you know, and all that slowly over 100 years. And all the coverage, it became something that to us is so second nature. You go to a film, you don't even think about the fact that, you know, there's a wide shot.
You start with your master. You go in for
Right.
close-ups. You get coverage, and that has filtered over into what we call reality TV now.
Right.
And that's reality TV has been with us for good or for evil in such a way now that is an aesthetic that we're used to.
Yes.
So when an audience is watching it, I mean, it really comes down to content. If the show is worth watching,
Right.
the style, I think that can take a back seat.
Right, right. And people, and this is one of the things that is my thing, is people need to be much more knowledgeable about what they're watching. People inside the industry are, but the general public is not ever questioning why'd they make that cut. You know what I mean? Why are we lingering on this shot so long? They just blank out and go, and they're supposed to. It's not a criticism.
Right.
But my feeling is most people would be better served to understand the process of production, and then they can interpret that tens and hundreds of thousands of media hours they ingest through their lives.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so that's a little bit of my feeling about it. This is part of the reason for this show too, is just that exactly. Say now, what is the timeline of what you do on a show? Say like Frontier right now, you're up in Alaska shooting for how long?
Alaska: The Last Frontier is one of the unique television shows that shoots for pretty much the length of the year.
Okay.
We start roughly in February or March, and we'll work all the way through until December. And
that is
pretty awesome.
And you're up there in some
incredibly
pretty
lucky.
cold months.
We are, yeah. It starts off, pretty frigid, but we're going into spring,
Yeah.
so we have that to look forward to.
Yeah.
And everything starts to melt, and then it gets really muddy, and then
Yeah.
the rains come. So,
Yeah.
we're always working in some
You
kind
sound
of
like a
weather.
bear, Robert.
Oh,
Actually, I know
man.
the seasons.
Oh gosh, it's nuts. But we'll go through the whole year. We have standard production legs,
Yeah.
5 to 6 weeks, and then we'll take a couple weeks off and then come back and
Yeah.
keep working. But that's to take advantage of the seasons
Right.
and the different periods of the year that things in Alaska happen. The fishing seasons, king salmon season,
Sure.
halibut season. Halibut you can pretty much fish anytime, but
Yeah.
there's all of these opportunities to capture moments in reality that
Yeah.
are happening just
That
at one
they
specific
really,
time
that
of the
people
year.
really have to do, and
Exactly.
they're
So
doing that for.
as a documentary filmmaker, I don't want to dish. The reality TV it can be really cool. I have to admit, it's fantastic.
Absolutely.
But from a pure documentary standpoint, it's
Yeah.
one of the greatest opportunities because you're shooting and filming people doing what they do, and you learn a lot, and you're doing something
absolutely.
that lifts people up. The audiences love it because of all of these things that they maybe will never have an opportunity to do in their own lives. So they live it vicariously, and
Yeah.
it's cool to be a part of bringing that to
Oh
audiences
no,
in the
it's
lower
fun.
48 or wherever.
all over the world, all
Absolutely,
over the world.
yeah.
I was, my wife Arife is Turkish, and we were
And a fantastic artist too, by the way.
Thank you. We were up. Her town is by the Black Sea.
Okay.
And had a couple of like second cousins way out in the country, and I mean we drove out in the country to this farm. There's a couple guys. 20-something out there, they're really, I mean, like anybody in the rural area, they're great, love to have guests, right? Because nobody ever drives out
yeah,
there, right?
yeah.
So we come out, and they want to get to know me and see Arife again, American. We start talking about it, and the one guy, no English, obviously, he looks at me and somebody else explains to him what I do, and he comes up to me and he goes, "Deadly Catch."
Oh wow.
Deadly Catch. It's his favorite show.
Fantastic.
Favorite show
That's
in
great.
the world. Yeah.
That's great.
And he's living on a farm out in Turkey in the middle of nowhere, literally. And so
Worldwide
it hits
reach, man.
people over, and this is what I love about it. I don't love all reality shows,
Yeah.
but what I love about those and some of the the ones you don't work on, but you do get that feeling like these people have chosen a lifestyle that is not easy. Why do they do that?
Yeah.
And then you see their actual sense of it,
Yeah.
their amount of freedom that they have in their own personal lives that make them self-sufficient.
Oh, yeah.
It's really great.
It is really cool, and
Yeah.
I just got to say personally, I feel incredibly lucky to have these opportunities and to work with production companies and networks
Yeah.
that allow us and give us that support to
Yeah.
do this because there's so many things out there that I could possibly be doing in our business.
Yes.
Far less
Many,
desirable
many,
situations.
many.
But I feel like I've just hit this lucky streak,
Yeah.
and I'm blessed to be working in Alaska or Switzerland or wherever it might
Right.
be, and doing things that I think have a little bit more of a it's worth talking about, and you know, and they lift people up a little bit, and
Right.
you know, it's just not comic book bubblegum.
No.
Actually, I can't. I love the comic movies. Marvel movies are fantastic.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean.
No, I totally do.
Hopefully, the audience knows what I mean.
Yeah. If you're on the inside of this business, we know what you mean. We know what you mean.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break, and then I think we're going to come back and look at some videos and pictures and talk some more. So we will be right back. Hi, I'm Burnie. I own Burnie's Grip and Lighting, San Diego Grip and Lighting, and Los Angeles Grip and Lighting. You know, we pride ourselves on not only renting you the best equipment, but also giving you the best crews. And one of our core values here at Burnie's Grip and Lighting is that we give you the highest production value in the world. And remember, people used to say national, local. No, we present world-class production value on every set. We also know budgets are very tight these days, and you've got 10 hours to get what you need in the can. We move ahead, we move fast, and we know what you need. When you rent from Burnie's Grip and Lighting, you have a partner on your production for that day that is making sure you are well taken care of. So anytime you're in Southern California, give us a call at 714-609-3545, and we'll take very good care of you. See you on set. And we're back with Mr. Robert Jolley, DP on, who you work for Discovery, is that it?
Yeah, currently I'm working with Discovery Channel.
Okay, so that's your employer, quote unquote.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we were talking about Frontier, your show, Alaska, The Last Frontier. We should give it its full title.
Yep.
And then you also worked on port protection as well,
port
right?
protection was for the Nat Geo channel. That was previous to Alaska, The Last Frontier.
Yes.
And then previous to that, I worked on Dancing with the Stars. So a big leap from studio.
Dancing with the Stars, I love that. But you know what? That's what a lot of people don't understand. That is the reality in Southern California. You go to a high production value entertainment show to something like reality, and who knows, next year you may be in Africa doing something for 9 months out of the year. That would not be impossible to imagine.
That would be great, but I think there's certain people in my life that would find opposition in that. They'd be like, you're going where?
Well,
for how long?
Now you're talking crazy, Robert, because you're pretending like you have a personal life.
I know, personal life?
Yeah, I know. It's something.
Are we allowed?
You should try it, but just go slowly. That's all I would advise.
Well, you know, you made a really good point, though. Yeah, it could be somewhere like Africa next year.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking about 10 years ago, give or take, you and I were loading gear into one of your vehicles from a wonderful corporate job for a very famous fast food restaurant.
Yes.
And we were talking about this. You know, it was one of those months where like, hey, you got any days booked this month? I got a couple days next week.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I haven't got anything yet. You know, and we were just talking about, you know, the ups and downs and how fast that can change.
You know, back in the day, and you know, it's funny when you look at your career too, because you do look at sections like that. And, you know, there's a section where nobody knows you, nobody wants to hire you.
Nobody cares.
So just getting on that set as a PA or whatever, and being able to start establish that's you have achieved a goal right there.
Absolutely.
And then your career sort of, you know, you have a lot of opportunities if you're smart enough to be able to sort of find room on the bottom rung. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And explore your possibilities before you start climbing the ladder too fastly.
Yep.
I think that is a really good thing. And we were both in sort of that position where we're making a living.
Yep.
We're doing fine, yet we don't sort of, how would you say this? Maybe it's not the right way. We don't own any clients. You know what I mean? We're getting work from other people who own the clients. You know? Yep. And that's where we were for a long time. And I know, you know, I think there was a couple times where I'd show up and I'd go, oh, thank God Robert Jolley's here. Thank God.
I'm so glad to hear you say that.
But that is the type of career you have. And then, of course, what we didn't know is where our success would lead us, where our careers would lead us. And you've been very successful. I've been very successful. But that comes from that everyday focus. The same type of focus you need when you're working on a reality show or running a grip and lighting company. You know, you don't let up. You keep going hard.
That is entirely true. And you know, when I look back over the course of my career, starting my very first job when I was 18 years old was in Hawaii. I was going to college in Hawaii, and I had a friend who worked at the campus production studio. It was pretty cool. They had, it was a full broadcast studio. He goes, "Hey, Jolley, are you doing anything on Saturday night?" And I'm like, "No, not really. Do you want to earn some quick money?" I'm like, "What does that mean?" He basically wanted me to come. He basically wanted.
You know what? You're a smart guy to ask that
was in
question.
town.
I would have just said yes.
Well, I was young and naive. I had no idea what he was asking me to
Right.
come and do. And it was in Honolulu. They had this version of wrestling. It was like WWF kind of thing.
Okay.
And he just needed me to go and stare at two little VU meters,
Okay.
audio VU meters, and just monitor and make sure they didn't go all the way too far into the red. All I had to do was sit there and make sure these two little knobs were, bouncing in the right place. He paid me $50 an hour for 2 hours,
God.
man.
Oh
I was like, I just struck gold.
Yeah.
This is
yeah,
great.
Yeah.
And the great thing is I kind of learned a little bit more about how show business works. These dudes would get in the ring, a bunch of Samoans and Tongans and really big dudes beating each other up. They go behind a curtain and they're all best friends.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, this is cool.
Yeah,
I like this. This is really cool.
I've never heard anybody
Most money I've made in a long
like
time.
this.
Oh,
yeah.
it was awesome.
Yeah, that's great. So that was your first introduction.
That was my
over in
first
Hawaii.
paid job. First time I ever made any money at all, and I think I had to spend it on food or gas or something.
Oh, of course, it was something like that. Yeah.
But I look at all of those little chunks of stages of my career. I went on to doing a lot of camera assisting in the years of 35 millimeter when film was the only way.
Yeah.
And I still love film.
Yeah.
I love it with a passion. But there are new technologies that we need to embrace and enjoy and make use of. But over all these periods of my life, I learned a lot of things, and I got some great advice when I was really young. And I'm going to edit it because it was full of profanity, but he basically just said, keep your mouth shut, ask the right questions, and pay attention. Mm-hmm. Always pay attention. Mm-hmm. And that was it. Pretty basic.
Yeah.
And I feel like that served me pretty
That's
well.
great advice.
And I've tried to continue that on because there's so much to be learned constantly.
Constantly. And no one, here's what I tell young people when they're coming on set. Nobody cares what you know. You could know everything, and nobody cares. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What they want is somebody who's paying attention to what they need. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and my version of that is mouth shut, head down, ears open.
Yep.
And that's what it's all about.
You can print that on a shirt.
Yeah. That's a good idea. Those will be for sale here at Burnie's Applebox. No, just kidding. But that is so important, and it's so valid. And you and I now, if somebody would have told us that, I think when I started, I go, yeah, right. Oh, okay, thanks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now I go, that's what I do every day. I do that every day in my business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I try as hard as I can to make it work. Mm-hmm. I listen, and listening being one of the rarest things that happens these days.
Oh my gosh.
And achieve the goal for the group.
Yeah.
And that's so important. But I know you brought us some video and you brought us some pictures, and we have been very remiss on Burnie's Applebox about doing this with more people, but you really loaded us up, so I do want to get to that and
that sounds good.
And take a look. What did you bring us?
Well, I hope some of my friends that are featured in these videos and films will stills will talk to me afterward. Didn't get any clearances here, but I know we've got a few things. We've got a couple of, I think there's a sizzle reel, and there's a cool little reel I cut together when I was shooting the show Port Protection. We did this fun drone shot.
Okay.
And the field producer I was working with grabbed my iPhone and did his own little BTS thing, and we cut together some of the footage just to kind of show what it's like to do one shot for a TV show.
Yeah.
And then there's a smattering of still photos. I don't shoot a lot behind the scenes because I'm usually pretty busy. And,
You need somebody else for that. Yeah.
Exactly. And out of respect for clients and producers, sometimes they don't want that happening because they want to keep the show under wraps until they can reveal it to the world.
Especially in reality. Especially in reality.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I've got a few good ones here that we can look at.
All right, let's take a look. So what's up first? Tony, what do you have for us?
Sizzle reel.
Sizzle reel. Okay.
Sizzle reel.
Great.
This is kind of fun. It's just a smattering of imagery from different projects over the years. There's some aerial work. There's some actors.
Great.
All right, let's take a look at it.
Yeah, let's have a look. That is awesome, Robert.
Shameless
That's
self-pitch,
great.
man.
Oh, self-pitch. You know what I say about sizzle reels?
do you
It's
say?
the only thing that ensures the client won't hire you because you can't do their job. You know what I
Totally,
mean?
yeah.
I swear to God,
Oh,
yeah, he had horses on there, but we want to shoot cows. You know what I mean?
So
I mean,
true,
it's
man.
that type of mentality that usually
Cows
goes.
at midnight too,
Yeah,
or cows at
midnight.
dawn, or something
His
really
his
ridiculous
cows are
thing.
at noon. Doesn't he understand what we want? Well, no, it's a sizzle reel.
Oh
you
my
know?
goodness!
So
It brings
what
back some
I
memories.
thought that was fantastic.
Thanks.
What I'd like to do for everybody out there is let's go through this sizzle reel again. And Tony, we may ask you to stop it at some point and pause it. But let's just go through and have you explain what these shoots were. And
right.
some
Yeah,
will go over
absolutely.
and some not. But yeah, let us go.
Yeah, awesome, cool. All right, so this is the guy that supposedly shot all this stuff.
So
Very important though. You got to
DP and camera
Yeah,
operator.
yeah.
So you're putting that out there.
Yeah, so this is, it's just the best shots I could find within the context of some of
that's
these
beautiful.
projects. That was in Mexico. That's in Ghana, Africa.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's in La Paz, Mexico.
What's this?
This is a documentary, that I shot in Australia with a really well-known artist down under. The thing about this is when I go through and watch each one of these clips, this was a little feature film with C. Thomas Howell.
Okay.
That was a short film. That's another documentary. Another documentary film, that's Last Frontier. Lisa
Okay, and
Gibbons,
then,
that was a
you
project
and
you and
I
I worked on
that
together.
one together.
Yep. And here's the cast from The West Wing. Extreme Makeover Home is Lando Calrissian, good old Billy D. Williams.
Yeah.
Um,
And this is
Chasing.
so Southern California too, because you feel like you're going through all those people all the time.
Yes.
Not everyone, not every day, but you run into a lot of celebs.
Tommy Chong was probably, I just got to say about
Out
Tommy
of the
Chong,
smoking van.
Out of the smoking van. And he's such a good sport. He loves to play off of that, up in smoke motif.
Yeah.
But that guy, I got to tell you, Tommy Chong is one of the most literate cinema people.
Oh,
film
is that
producers.
right?
Oh my gosh.
A real aficionado,
Oh,
huh?
he loves, and he knows the business so well. That's the thing about the guy is that's
Could
why
you hold it right there, Tony?
he's lasted. I sat in a van with him for about 3.5 hours driving from Palm Springs back to LA on one of the shoots. This was when he was on Dancing with the Stars. And he and everyone else in the van was tired except for the driver. Thankfully, he was driving, but everyone else fell asleep. But I just sat there and talked to him, and actually I just listened because he talked about his days at Paramount, getting started with Up in Smoke, actually going back before that when he and Cheech were beginning their comedy routine,
Sure.
and doing comedy shows and getting opportunities.
Yeah.
And the guy knows everything. If he said, Robert, if I told you, get me a blonde, what does that mean to you? And I started talking lighting with him. The dude knows
And he
grip and
knew
lighting.
lighting. Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's directed 5 feature films.
Yeah.
He's produced them all. He wrote them. He did all the business deals.
Yeah.
He can walk on the lot at Paramount and
So he
it's
did
like,
all
here's
the
red
business
carpet, buddy.
deals. He did
Oh,
all
yeah.
the business. He
Oh,
was
yeah.
the business guy in the
I think
duo.
he and Cheech worked pretty closely, but I think Tommy kind of took on more
Yeah.
of the role of
Right. And then his daughter, Don Ray Chong, had a career and still has a career.
Ray Dong
I
Chong,
believe.
yeah. Oh, she's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's one of the cool things I love about this business is meeting and getting to work with people that I've seen when I was younger, growing up.
Yeah.
I saw them in movies, and I was like,
And then you
"Wow,
go,
he's
yeah.
so far away. I'll never meet that person." Here I am sitting in a van with him.
Yeah.
And
driving back
like,
from Palm
what is
Springs,
this?
yakking. Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic.
No, that is.
So,
Can we pick that up, Tony, from where we left off? And then
Brad Paisley. That's Bradley Whitford.
Yeah.
That was a commercial using that featured the cast from The West Wing when that was on
and
NBC.
Then you had another
A
country
makeover
star,
show on
yeah.
HGTV. Eric Stromer, fantastic guy to work
That's
with.
a beautiful shot right there.
That was a Russian artist in St. Petersburg. I don't remember this gal's name, but I thought she was a great singer. And that was a project we worked on.
Yeah,
together.
we worked on that
Up
one.
there in
I
Ventura.
remember that way up north.
And there's a little comedy pilot with 4 of the funniest guys I've ever worked with.
Oh, it's so great.
Unfortunately, the show didn't go to series, but it was fun to shoot. And there's Danny Coker, Counting Cars. This is a feature, an action
Yeah,
movie.
we worked on that one.
Oh, yeah, Coreflex.
Yeah.
And then just a couple of quick shots of fun stuff.
So,
And,
tell me
yeah,
about this.
crazy,
now,
man.
I as a gaffer, I've never had a reel. Maybe I should, but I haven't.
Oh,
you know what I
man,
mean?
you'd have
and tell
some
me,
good
what
material.
is the response when you send a reel out? I mean, if you don't hear from them again, do you think, oh, God, I got to redo my reel, or tell me what feedback you get on that, because as you know, I've just got that sort of I've got a prejudice against reels.
Tell me what your prejudice is.
Well, you know what?
I'm
I don't
curious.
think they really represent what the director of photography should be getting to the client. Here's what I would say.
Okay.
It's much more, I think you're much more strong with a reel that's almost like a little 10-minute documentary where you're showing a scene and then talking about your process for it. Because just seeing a scene, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't really explain the process that you had to go through, which
That's
is
true.
the value of a director of photography, getting you to that point.
Yeah.
There was a post there with a couple in a sunset walking hand in hand.
Yeah.
Well, now that's kind of what you would consider a no-brainer.
Right.
You know what I mean? But how does that process get, was it something else before? Did you have to do this? Or, hey, I turned around and we got lucky and I got this scene. Because to me, the value for a producer of a DP is somebody who's gone, I got lucky here and we grabbed the opportunity. Here, it took 2 days to light this scene, but we got what we needed out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just those variations where you hear actually from the DP.
Yeah.
These are just pictures.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But everybody's reel is like that. So I think that's why it doesn't serve the DP as well.
Yeah, I see your point, and I feel like you're touching on a couple of really important things that are worth mentioning. Number one, people love to be entertained.
Yep.
And when a client is considering you to shoot their project or series or whatever,
You're trying to entertain them.
They want to see something that's going to catch their attention, and I think that serves the sizzle reel serves that purpose.
Yeah.
Now, on a more lengthy basis, going through a process, I think for those of us that are putting in the time to get the job.
Yeah.
If you can link up with a company or a client or a network or whatever entity that understands what it takes to get results like that, they're going to see that and immediately recognize the qualities that they're looking for.
Yeah.
So instead of educating them on your process, they're going to already understand that couple shot, they're going to say, oh, okay, that looks like either sunset or sunrise. It's roughly 36 frames per second. And that was 35 millimeter.
Right.
So there's a lot of different factors that are involved in that, and they're going to go, oh, okay, that's the kind of thing we're looking for. That DP or camera operator has the skills, the technical savvy to accomplish that.
Right.
And then the conversation begins.
Yeah.
Then you can talk about process in person or over the phone.
No, I've got you. I just, this is part me being a gaffer and being a gear owner, because I think this is sort of part of my mentality, is the fact that I run into a lot of people on all kinds of different levels.
Yeah.
In other words,
Yeah.
what you're talking about is somebody viewing that who has a very sophisticated palette of what it takes to do good production.
And experienced.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I just feel a lot of people are in that decision-making process, and this is not a knock on them.
No, I
I'm just saying
understand.
they are there because of other skills than production.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And I think a lot gets lost that way.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't think. Listen, I don't think sizzle reels are going to change because of what I think.
Yeah.
But I just think sometimes the DPs, they could interject more about their skill as opposed to just the picture.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Your point is well taken. And, there's a longer format demo reel per se that I would put together. If I was going for a network show, I would find all of my network pieces and cut a minute
Well,
scene,
there you go.
put together
Yes.
a 3-minute demo reel that kind of shows the more entirety of a scene that they can look at and analyze and go, all right, well, the coverage is good, it's in focus.
Yeah.
It looks decent.
Yeah.
And that way they can get a better sense of just, because I agree. I mean, if I looked at that, anyone can throw together a beautiful piece with a lot of, quick cuts and fast music, but what you may not see is on the handles of those shots that are really good, there's a lot of crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're all guilty of that.
No,
but we're trying to get a job,
Exactly. Yeah, we're trying to get a job. Well, you know what, too, and this is something, when you're putting that out there and somebody's got it, and they're looking at it, I'm just thinking of a way to differentiate yourself. And as well as I know, what sells you more than a reel or anything else.
Yeah.
It's your reputation.
Yeah.
Word of
man.
mouth is the
Yeah.
best salesperson in our industry.
Yeah.
And
So
that's
true. So
every
true.
time.
You had a saying that I, to this day, I still repeat to some of my crew members. You said, every day you're proving yourself all over again.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's really applicable to the
Absolutely.
freelance world, but I think in network television, I think
It's
in
even
feature
more
work,
true.
even more important because people, they have very short attention spans
Yeah.
and they have short memories.
Yeah.
And if you show up and do a great job one day, the next day you show up, everyone's busy and they've got things on their mind, they're going to forget how great the previous day was.
Oh, yeah.
And you just got to bring your A game every day.
A game every day, yeah. You know what? We're going to go for another little break here.
Sounds
and
good.
We'll be right back.
All right, cool.
Burnie's workshop is fantastic. Burnie's workshop is awesome. Burnie's workshop is insightful.
Burnie, in one word, passionate maybe. You can tell he really cares a lot.
Burnie is a badass.
He's a great teacher. He has great stories, and I would recommend this to anyone. Not only someone like me who's starting day one, but you know, I feel that in any profession, as you sharpen your sword, it always gets sharper.
I think the best thing about this is the access to understanding how to run your business, how to actually be in this filmmaking industry and make money at it. Coming to this workshop, I think, is what actually gets you the tools to understand how to do that, how to get out there and sell yourself.
I thought that was really cool. I thought, he knows all the tricks in the book, and he knows how to show that to us and actually demonstrate it so we actually know what he's talking about.
I really like the hands-on experience. That's something that you don't find a lot. That's something you have to go on set a lot to just appreciate.
I know this is lighting seminar, but it's not only talk about lightings. He also share his business experience, personal experience, and guide us to what we should do, what kind of personality we should have in this business.
His stories, I think that they kind of say everything, all in a few example stories that he gives out from time to time.
I would recommend this workshop to anybody who just brand into the industry, people who just don't know the swing of it. A lot of the stuff they don't teach you in film school.
I deal with a lot of freelancers every day, a lot of peers that I went to school with, a lot of professionals in the field, and they all need to take this class because it puts you on the next level, on the next playing field.
Burnie's a great guy. Burnie's really authentic. Like everything he learns, everything he teaches, the way he handles himself, the way he deals with other people, he's a one-of-a-kind guy. Someone I've never come across before in the industry, and someone I hope to emulate and hope that there are more people like him out there that can help.
We are back with Robert Jolley, DP on Alaska, The Last Frontier. And you know what? I had a very good friend, oh, now I'm embarrassed myself because I'm spacing on his name.
He has one good friend.
He does catfish. He does catfish, and I'll just think of his name. We had him on, if you guys remember. Catfish? Did John DeTarcio. Thank you, Sean.
Catfish taste fantastic.
Yeah. And you know, it was so interesting to hear his process and how he did that and what they did. And I did a little recreation show with those guys one time where we were recreating scenes and stuff. And the reason we were doing that is because they couldn't use the real people that these stories were about.
Sure.
Because 85% of the people that get questionnaires don't pass the psychological test.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that. I don't know.
It's true though. Hey,
but it's a so. But I know you got a lot of photos, and I know we do we have another video, Tony? What was that one?
Yes, sir. The drone video.
The drone video. Process.
Okay. Yeah.
So let's see the process.
So in answer your question, we've got a little process video, just so happens, in our back pocket. For the series Nat on the Nat Geo channel. It was called Port Protection.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we only lasted 22 episodes, but it was a fantastic experience. The production company was incredibly supportive, and they basically gave me one marching order when the series started. They just said, make it look beautiful. I'm like,
oh, okay, that's
I think
easy.
I can do that.
Yeah.
But no, I was so lucky to work with these awesome camera operators, camera assistants that were just fantastic, field producers. Can't give those guys enough credit.
Yeah.
I think altogether, we did a really great job. And this video that we're about to show speaks to your question about process. How do you go about it? How do you do a scene? How do you do a shot? Our field producer, Daniel, grabbed my iPhone and did his own little behind-the-scenes, segment.
Awesome.
And you'll see the drone pilot. You'll see myself operating a camera on the drone. Our camera assistant, Corey, fantastic guy. Can't say enough good about him. And how we worked with the cast to do, I think it's a pretty cool shot.
Well, let's take a look.
All right.
Let's have a look.
We are doing a Murray shot inside and outside the greenhouse all in one take.
How's everybody doing?
Can you explain the process of what we're doing?
Basically, it's combining a shot that you don't think is a drone inside of the greenhouse coming back, and then it pulls up to reveal it's a drone. It's kind of a 2-in-1 of giving a shot turning into a drone.
And what makes this completely difficult to do?
Taking off a drone from inside someone's hands coming through a doorway. It's a little difficult.
Turn brain off for this one. Hey Hans, when you exit, meet Keith over here at the Sawhorse. All right, that's where you're going. He's gonna, yeah, you're gonna walk out first. He's gonna come up behind you, so just turn and wait for him and help him out. Good? All right, cool. Camera's rolling. Level set. Motor spinning. Action! Action, Keith. Forgot to be on cut. I'll just keep working. Oh yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, that was great takeoff, buddy. That's it. All right, let's circle that, check the gate. Moving on. Awesome.
Mission complete.
Mission complete.
Do we want to show them in there?
Yeah, let's give our cast a chance to see what we're shooting.
You guys did a good job. You didn't run into it. That's a great job. I didn't hit you actually. That's better.
Right.
Better for me.
Gotta admit, that really developed a lot of faith.
What about Corey, our drone wrangler?
I didn't break Nick's drone on the door.
You did not. Cut your face up.
They're not going to face off either.
That's good.
Winners all around.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was awesome, Robert.
Protection.
Yeah, yeah.
That was fun.
You know, it's funny because you said something while we were watching that, and you said they didn't use the whole shot there.
Unfortunately.
And you said it went a lot better. Tell me about that, because I know how it rips your heart out. As a lighting guy, I know when I get something right and they didn't do it, they didn't use it. They didn't use it because that's their decision. You know what I mean? But you wanted to see it there.
Yeah, it would have been cool. It was a bummer.
Yeah.
You know, we did that. I think we did maybe 5 or 6 takes of that just to get the timing right with you know, walking out the door and the cross action and
then you sort of told a story with the whole thing. Yet they
did.
took that one section out in the middle of the story.
Yep, and I think
they used it.
The thing too is the story on the show was building that greenhouse, you know, and then planting all the plants and building the planters and everything. And so, and it was like the project was almost done, and this is like the grand reveal, and you know, you know, excitement, emotion, and they cut one segment of it, and it was just shortened to the point. And I know the other crew members felt the same way. We're like, oh,
it just took your heart out and threw it down on the ground.
It was disappointing, but you know, I understand.
And realizing that the end viewer didn't miss a thing.
No, but they would have been such better viewers had they seen the entire shot.
Yeah, no, I've got you. You know where I've seen that a lot, in all honesty, is a really good Steadicam operator.
Oh my gosh.
Where a Steadicam, because he's always trying to tell the story, or even jib operator for that matter, where they're trying to tell the story. It's not just a boom. It's not just walking with a camera. They're actually leading you and guiding you, and that part of the story is germane to the rest of the piece, you know. And you see him just take a piece out of it, and you go, "Oh, yeah. Why didn't you let me have that experience that I had on set?" Well, when you nailed it.
Yeah, and you know, and it's okay. I've learned to let my ego just go away.
Well, it doesn't make any difference. It's not your project.
Like,
if it was your project, you'd have it in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Once you shoot it and turn it over to the client, they're going to do with what they need to.
Put
And
it
that's
out
cool.
of your mind.
Totally get it.
Yeah.
That's what we're hired to do.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for demo reels.
Yeah.
There's the whole shot.
There
man.
you go.
Yeah,
there
totally.
You go. So I know you brought a lot of pictures. I think maybe Tony will just start going through pictures, and you can let me know what we're looking at.
All right. Well, this is a great corporate shot from just here locally in Irvine a few years back. I was working with Brent Lofke, one of our awesome local directors here.
Sure.
And this was for a company about truck batteries. And, you know, as you can see, I'm
Yeah.
working around a truck.
And that's a good point. You know what I mean? Truck batteries.
Truck batteries.
You don't think much about them. You would think,
Nah,
why
man.
would anybody do a video on a truck battery? There's a lot of information you should know about it, and certainly they want you to know about it.
Yeah, it was fascinating. I couldn't tell you anything of that day, but you know,
Yeah.
at the time it was fantastic. This is our interview set for Alaska: The Last Frontier, and that's Brigham, our showrunner.
Okay.
And we're just messing around. I rarely use a meter on reality TV.
Yeah.
But in this
But
case,
you were taking a picture,
I
so
was
it's
taking
time
picture.
to
You've
pull
got to
the
have a
meter
light
out,
meter,
of
yeah, man.
course.
But a light meter is still very essential. I use it
No,
all the time.
absolutely.
And, you know.
Tell
there's
me
proof.
about that. Tell me about that too, because when you do those sit-down interviews with the contestants and they're incorporated in the show,
Mm-hmm.
I've always understood you use the same background for everything with all the people. Is that what you do here? Is that a
Yeah.
standard little set you have set up for
It is.
everybody?
Yeah, that's a set that was constructed to simulate a cabin, and yeah, we use it for our master interviews.
Mhm.
You know, the longer sit-down interviews, and it's a real simple setup. You know, key light, backlight, then you know the background is lit. A lot of things are just, you know, real basic G&E work. We have a grid built overhead.
What kind of building are you in? Are you in some little tilt-up or something?
No, that's
or-
actually, that's a room in a larger workshop.
Okay.
One of our cast members works in that area, and he has a workshop, and you know, we were given a space to work with.
Oh,
And,
great.
you know, we had some work to do. Like I mentioned, we built an overhead grid. I had one of the local guys come over and build one. He did a fantastic job. So we've just got, you know, C-clamps and pipe hanging over top. Lights are suspended to, you know, give us some room to work, because it's really not a very large space.
Yes.
It's probably, you know, 8 or 9 feet wide. So once you start putting C-stands down and combo risers, there's nowhere to walk.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, we're going to the roof. We're going to hang stuff.
We know that feeling here.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and when you do that, when you're doing those, so how do you have that schedule, or sometimes you just think, hey, let's get somebody over here and talk about this, and you can just throw them in right there?
Yeah, well, that's the purpose. The way we have it set up is so we can do last
Last-minute interviews.
But
You come up for a new piece of storyline that you've discovered, or something like that.
They're really organized in the schedules, though. So we'll plan a whole day of interviews. So we'll have like 5 or 4 cast members come in, and you know, and I'll flip the key, so we have a little different look for each person. But you know, it's set up so that we can quickly go, okay, key up here, boom, ready to go, blah, 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 interview, and then turn this one off, turn this one on.
Yeah.
You know, fly people in and out of the chair.
And how long do the interviews generally last when you're doing something like that? Hour?
Anywhere
2
from,
hours?
depending on what content they need, whether they're
Yeah.
pickups or
Yeah.
you know, master interviews, anywhere from like a half hour to maybe 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of time spent inside, which is nice.
What do we got here?
Oh, that's a
Is that
wonderful
over at OC
green screen.
Soundstage?
No, I believe that's up in West LA.
Okay.
That was you know, green screen shoot.
Yeah.
One of the many things I'm lucky to get to go do.
Yeah.
You know? And a lot of things I've learned from you and from other crew members I've worked with. You know, different things I've picked up. And that's what I wanted to mention earlier is if you're surrounding yourself with smarter people, you're going to be
That's
much
the
more
only
successful.
way to do it. That's the only way to do it. Yeah,
It's true,
I
man.
hire people who know more than I do.
More
Yeah,
BTS.
That's a very nice BTS shot.
Yeah, we love that kind of BTS
Yeah.
shot. Fantastic. Yeah, you know, those Kino flows are looking good.
And then what are we looking like
Okay,
at here?
This is a rig for some plates that I was shooting for a CBS series called The Defenders.
You know, I
with Jim
think I have
Belushi.
that plate. What's that mounted on? Is that a bumper?
Yeah, it's a bumper.
Okay.
It's a specially engineered cheese plate for the 3.5Ds. And basically, we were just doing driving shots.
I may own that cheese plate.
You probably
now.
do. Probably
Yeah.
yours. That was
And,
rented for
Ken
that
gave
shoot.
it to me.
Oh.
Was that Ken's?
It was a connection through Ken.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
it could have been. Yeah, you probably do own it.
I think I do.
Yeah, let's go shoot some plates.
You know what? He just left it in my office one day.
Cool.
And I go, where'd this come from? It's about a month. And he goes, oh, did you get that cheese plate? Oh, that was you.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so Greg Grunberg, this is, you know, just a simple one-man band kind of shoot. I love to do those because they're fun, and you know, it's a way of, it's like going to the gym. You know,
How many times have we done that? Just gone out with a
few.
band. And,
Tom Scott, famous saxophonist.
Yeah.
Again, meeting people that I would never
would
meet
never
otherwise.
meet, yeah.
Yeah, and finding out that they're
Pretty
awesome,
normal people.
awesome guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a prep day up in Burbank at a rental place.
Now, are you prepping for your show, your Alaska show?
This is for one of the Alaska shows.
Okay.
Yeah. There's some of the many cases that we send on Alaska Airlines to, you know, go north. A lot of details. A lot
How
of
many
little pieces.
cases do you fly up with?
On
do you
average,
know?
anywhere from about 45 to 50 some odd.
Wow.
Cases. Yeah.
Wow.
It's cool. It's kind of normal now. If I have less than that many, I feel like there's something
Like
wrong.
you're scared. Yeah.
Like we're missing something.
And now you're out in the water here.
Yep, out on the water. The cool thing about this shot that I just wanted to point out is we're on a small skiff bouncing in the ocean, and I was shooting with an FS700 at 240 frames per second, trying to smooth out the motion, and the next frame that I think is going to pop up is a well tail. And I was just trying to get that. I was trying all morning, and I got lucky.
You nailed it.
I got totally lucky.
Yeah.
There's no reason why I should have got that shot.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You know.
Horizon is nice and even on that.
Man,
Look at that.
totally lucked out.
So do you use that on boats up there? Are you a stabilizing system?
Sometimes. It depends on the kind of show. This show is so dependent on visuals, yes.
Yeah.
But other shows, we just real time,
go for it.
29.97,
Yeah.
we just shoot
It's
it.
got to be an expense, too, to keep one around all the time.
It
right?
can be.
I'm sure.
Yeah. There's a set shot, some China balls, real
And
simple
which
lighting.
set is this for?
This
What
is
do you-
for Alaska: The Last Frontier.
Oh, okay.
Our Christmas
Oh,
scene
okay.
we shot. And this just
Gotcha.
kind of shows the simplicity that.
So you put up China balls there?
China balls,
And
yeah.
then just nice and even
Yep,
light?
nice and soft.
Mhm.
Real simple solutions to seemingly complex situations.
Right.
I'm crowded behind a Dana dolly.
And is this the same setup
Same,
there?
yeah,
same
that's just the
place?
reverse. So
Yeah.
that's our camera
So
corner.
you always use a Dana dolly. Is the camera always moving generally in reality? I mean, when you're doing it, you're kind of keeping that alive.
Yeah, it's usually moving like this because camera operators
Yeah,
are
he's
having,
running.
they have too much caffeine. Or now I try to keep
Yeah.
a horizon steady and shot in focus if I can.
Yeah, yeah. But you're doing some camera movement
Yeah,
all
a
the
little
time
bit.
with it. Yeah.
And that's what happens when a non-camera person takes control of a camera. It was dragged behind the mud.
Explain what we're
It's a
looking at.
C300 that's been dragged probably about a quarter of a mile down a really muddy trail in the middle of Alaska.
Oh my God!
Unbeknownst to the guy on the four-wheeler, he just didn't know that it was dragging behind until he got there. And I was coming up behind him with the other camera operator, Adam, and we're cruising along and we see pieces of camera like, whoa, hold on, whoa, whoa, whoa. So I jump off and like, something bad has happened. We got to the end of the trail and sure enough, there were some sad faces down there. And that camera was just caked in mud. That's cleaned up.
Oh my God!
But accidents happen, so.
Yeah, what are we looking at here?
That's the stereotypical DP posing.
What are you giving me one of these? Yeah.
What
I
does the
run
light
like
say?
hell whenever I see this.
Oh my gosh, I know, and you should. That's just not right.
So Robert, you're
Yeah.
not going to believe this, but an hour is up.
Ah,
I know.
fantastic.
Can you believe it? It's so
It's
fun
crazy.
talking to you, dude. I can
Oh,
do this
man,
for
likewise.
8 more hours.
Yeah.
Tell us, how does somebody get a hold of Robert Jolley if they want to get him on their next feature?
They can email me, rwjolley@yahoo.com.
rwjolley@yahoo.com.
Jolley.
Okay.
I'm on Instagram, film number 4 you, film for you.
Film for you.
Or I'm on Facebook, Robert Jolley.
Robert Jolley. Okay.
Send me
Awesome.
a message.
Brother, so great to
Bernie,
see you again.
Thanks for having me. This
You're
is
doing
awesome.
such awesome stuff
Oh,
here, dude.
thank you very
Keep up
much.
the great work.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Great to
You'll be
here.
back. Please, please.
I hope so.
Yeah. All right.
Right on, man.
And we'll see you next week on Bernie's Applebox. Cut. That's a wrap.